What's up, sports fans? End of July news for you guys, and I dug up some scoop. All right, so we have Trek making a stand against more than 20-mile-an-hour bikes. We have Garmin killing it, GoPro at the brink of bankruptcy. We have a very unusual helmet, and I'm gonna also show you what's coming up from eMTBR. All right, first bit of news is Trek has issued a big press release announcing their stance on electric bikes. So the big one for us is they will only make class 1 eMTB. Okay, so only 20 miles an hour maximum ever. All right, and then they have some news about the pedelecs, the commuter e-bikes. They said throttle will only go to 20 miles an hour forever, and then with assist it will only go to 28. But the big one is 20 miles an hour for mountain bikes. It's a big issue. That's class 1. That's what's legal at the moment. If you are on private property, you know, obviously you should be able to go as much as fast as you want. If you're commuting to the trailhead, it would be nice to have that option. And we do have a couple of companies now, Specialized and Avinox, and all the Avinox powered bikes are allowing you to choose an option to select for any particular ride. You hit some disclaimers and whatnot that you can go to 28. All right, but Trek says never. They're never going to do that. So it's a big stance. It's got a big impact on their revenue because users are finding out that they really like the option to go 28. Let's face it, 20 mile an hour artificial limit on cutoff on motor is it's a bad experience. You know, if you are on single track, you hardly hit it, but if you have a lot of fire road, kind of flattish fire road, wide open stuff, you can hit that limit, you know, maybe 20-40 times during the ride, and it's not like you can power through it. You know, you need to come up with so many 300 watts. Do you commend Trek for doing this? Do you think they're doing it a little too early, or do you think it's the wrong move? You know, on the one hand, you know, class 1 is what's legal at the moment for trails, but on the other hand, the class 3 option has been around now for about 16 months, with Specialized introducing it on all the Gen 4 Levos. And there really has not been any trail that has been closed. There hasn't been any report of trail conflict because of this option. So it's a big one from Trek to make this stand right now. Next piece of news is Maxxis launches their new gnarly tire, the Maxxis DHX, succeeding the DHF and DHR. So DHX. So is their gnarly tire. It looks good. It looks good. It's for loose over loose, you know, the type of conditions that we have right now in summer that the downhillers get. You know, what's going to dig in, what's going to give you the most grip and cornering ability. So they finally have the DHX, and it's been a while since the DHF got introduced. So it's going to replace the DHF, and it is a big tire, 1,500 grams, 1450 to 1550, big side knobs, and they went, instead of 2323, 2222, but where the big knob goes, or the middle knob is, it's got an L shape like this, so it closes out that transition area knob. So it's very easy to corner. It's very supportive on the sides, and the casing has been much improved. All right, so tell me what you think about this Maxxis tire. It's not radial, unfortunately. But this is a good option. There's also a new tire from Michelin that I've been testing out, non-radial, but super gnarly because it's wide open and well supported. Third piece of news is GoPro gets another Nasdaq warning for getting delisted. Okay, so that's not good. These are the precursors to insolvency or bankruptcy. So basically, if you're share price is under $1 for more than 30 consecutive days, you will get a warning, and you have 180 days to fix this. I don't know, you're gonna fix it, you know, maybe a reverse split, infusion of cash, but their stock price is at 69 cents. It's been that way for a couple weeks. Market cap of 120 million, and the product pipeline, not looking good. They are in big trouble. And the founder, Nick Woodman, put out 20 million of his own money out of his own pocket to keep the company surviving. I don't know why he would do that. He must. It's whether you take the losses now of all of what the company's worth, it goes to zero if it goes bankrupt, or you take you take a 20 million hit, might never see that again. So he must know something. But what do you guys think of GoPro? Will it survive these tough times? Next news is Garmin. Garmin keeps winning. I might sound like a broken record, but they really have some impressive news. So they are reporting 11% year-over-year growth for the second quarter. And I think what is even more compelling than that is the wearables are like 30+% growth. So the watches and the bike computers as well. I think the watches are a bigger part of that. You know, I have the Garmin Fenix now. I've been using it for a couple months, and it's big. It's a powerful machine, and it is so powerful. You know, it can track your golf location. It can do your bike ride, your hike, your swim, your dive. It's pretty darn good. They can do everything for such a little thing. But it's not little for a watch, but it's really cool. I've been using it a lot. You know, just for a lot of my ride tracking, and also it monitors your health. It's one of those wearables, tells me how good my sleep was, you know, if I should get up and move, all that jazz. But what's really cool about it is something you might not expect. It's complicated, of course, you got to learn it, but it has a flashlight that's forward facing. So I use it all the time, you know, as a flashlight. So it's so cool. I think it's stronger than the iPhone flashlight, and it's always with you, right? In fact, one time we were stranded in the forest at night, and I was going like this, biking out at night, and after a while I just put it on my brake lever, not the moving part, and I used it as a flashlight, and it got me and my crew out of the forest. The other good thing is, instead of an Apple Watch where you got to charge it every night or every couple nights, this thing, the battery lasts like 20 days. So pretty darn good. All right, next piece of news is, I'm not sure if this is news, but Kali has a new titanium chin bar helmet. Brilliant or terrible. It is called the Kali Crew, KRU, full face helmet, 630 grams. So it is light, but it is $450. But what they're innovating new is they're putting a titanium cage right here, just mounted here, and so it's more open, more ventilation. People can see you smile. You can drink, not eat, but it's a new take on this situation. It looks like a hockey helmet or a roller derby helmet, to tell you the truth. And the reviews have not been kind at the Pink Bike. Basically, there's a lot of, first they're saying, some people are saying it's the ugliest thing they've ever seen. No industrial design came in whatsoever in the shaping and the color of the helmet and all that jazz. And a lot of concerns that are warranted. Kali put out a test where it got pounded, instead of one time, a stress test with a heavy weight. They did it 10 times on the front, 10 times on the side, and this thing survived. So it is strong. The problem is that there's no cheek pads. And cheek pads, I know because I'm experimenting with cheek pads. If you want to remove your cheek pads, but then the helmet will get pushed to your face, or the chin guard will get pushed to your face at impact. It's the cheek pads that help keep it in place. So that's missing from this helmet. The other thing is there's so many holes, sticks and debris might enter your face when you're digging, you're warthogging into the ground. Also, the rotational force, it might snag on a rock and twist your neck. And finally, the fact that it has no bend is not necessarily good. You know, impact bend is impact dissipation. What do you guys think? You like it? You gonna buy it? All right, finally, coming up on this channel, 2 bikes I'm gonna release this week. Propain Ekano 3 aluminum. That nice affordable bike with the Avanox motor. I'm releasing it, almost done. Did all my riding or my talking yesterday. And the Ibis Oso TR. That beautiful bike handling, looks like the promise with the Bosch motor. Releasing that as well. Okay, so, and then I'm gonna compare 3 strange but could be revolutionary pedals. Biking is always kind of the playground of the scientists, and we have one here. This thing floats 8 degrees. Why? Maybe your knee floats. The other one is a magnet pedal. A magnet pedal. With the advent of super magnets, some companies said, yeah, we're gonna keep you glued to your bike like you're clipped in, but with a magnet. This thing is so strong. Pulling, but shear not so good. Been using this last year. And then the last pedal I have is, look at this. You see that? It's about as big as my face. You're getting very sleepy. Very sleepy, my friends. All right. Thanks a ton, everyone, for hanging out with me. And I hope you have a good rest of July. Thank you.